I grew up in Seattle, came to Northwestern in 1978. That was my first airplane flight. First time I'd been east of Seattle more than about 90 miles. I graduated in 1982 with 2 degrees in computer science and applied math from the engineering school. And I came back later and got a master's in 1985 also in computer science. So I lived in Sargent Hall, McCulloch, Sargent, and 600 Lincoln. Having my work-study job, running track was probably 15 or 20 hours a week as well. And then with school, the idea of living off campus, that seemed like too complicated to me. But we had this housing lottery back then, and I kept losing the housing lottery. I would have lived in Sargent all 4 years, so I had a great experience there freshman year. So sophomore year, I come to campus, and I don't have a room, right? And so they put me up in, so Bob McCulloch is now, one building. And there was a lounge, a rec lounge, on the second floor on the southeast side of Bob Hall. And there were 6 of us, housed there. And the idea was that over time they would find rooms for us and we'd get a real room instead of being in the lounge. And so I was the last person to get assigned a room, and it was like a new student week. I think started on a Monday, and I think by Friday I actually got a room. And so I was placed in with a senior who was on the wrestling team. And I don't know if you have much experience with wrestlers, but they can be, a little scary. Anyway, so, and I think he probably scared off his first roommate, is my sense of what might have happened. But because I was on the track team, I had some sort of that athlete cred or something. Not that I was much of an athlete, but anyway, so that was that. And years later, my wife and I had been very fortunate. We worked at Microsoft back in the go-go days. And so we gave some money to the university back in 2000 to build a dormitory, and so that dorm opened actually 10 years ago. Anyway, and that was one of the motivations for that gift, was I kept on losing at the housing lottery, so we wanted to have some more room available on campus for students. And in fact, once that dorm opened in 2002, the housing lottery kind of went away after that. So I played a lot of foosball, right, table soccer. And a lot of ping pong. So we had a rec lounge in Sargent Hall. One year there was a campus foosball championship, right, organized here at Norris. And so we were a team, and we entered, and I don't know how many other teams entered, so we won. We were campus champions at foosball. I think there might have been 5 teams or 8 teams, I don't know. It wasn't like there were 100 teams, but anyway, we were campus champions at foosball. So then there was a regional college competition, and so the university, the ASG, I guess, had funds, and they paid for us to take the train up to Milwaukee, to the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, I guess. Stay overnight at some hotel and then play in this tournament there, right? So and it's it's kind of a fun train ride, and we get up there, and it's a different kind of table than we're used to playing on, right? And so that makes a difference. So we just get our clocks clean. We score 2 points out of 10 a game or something like that. So we put our wildcat tails behind our legs, and we take the train back back to Evanston. So. Yeah. I had a work-study job at Vogelback Computing Center, which no longer exists. In 1963, the highest and best use of that real estate right on the shores of Lake Michigan was a 1-story bomb shelter to house a mainframe computer. And I had this work-study job 10 hours a week at Vogelback. And that was a great experience because I sat at this World War II vintage desk in the hallway, and students, graduate students, faculty members would come up and ask questions. And sometimes they were very easy. It would be another undergraduate student taking an intro to programming class, and there was a core dump from their Fortran program because they'd indexed an array out of bounds, something really, I could look at the dump and go, okay, that was the problem. One story that was fun was 2 undergrads came up to me with their program. There were 2 sorority girls, and I don't know if you're familiar with how sorority rush works. At least back then, it was this cycle of matching, and so someone had written a computer program for them, and they had all the cards for each of the freshmen, typically, who were rushing, and it crashed, right? So I had the 2, like the devil and the angel, on my shoulder dancing around, and the devil guy is going, screw up sorority rush, right? You know, the angel says, no, that's not nice. Help them with the sorority rush. So it was actually a simple thing where this was a Fortran program, and the array bound was too small. They had a larger number of rushees this season. So I said, well, change this 300 to 500, and you'll be fine. So that 10 hours a week for all 4 years as an undergrad was a great experience for me in learning how to work with people, learning to kind of listen and understand what their problems were, and then being, in many cases, being able to solve those problems. So.